Welcome to this episode of Ask the Guitar Coach, the only podcast where you get answers to all your guitar-related questions. If you're interested in developing your guitar skills and reaching your music goals, please send me an email at the email address ioannis@ioannis.org. That is ioannis@ioannis.org, so that I can let you know about all the different packages of elite guitar coaching and how you can get private coaching by me. Without further ado, let's go to our question for the day. Why do my guitar strings break? Yes, the question, why do the guitar strings break? Well, usually because they're old and you have worn them out both by fretting and by bending. Bending is very hard on the strings. So usually that is the reason. But having said that, there are many other reasons that might lead to you breaking your strings prematurely. But once again, if you have had your strings on your guitar for 1 or 2 months and 1 or 2 strings break, it's normal. You've just worn them out. Let's see some other reasons though on why they might break. Now there are several friction points on the guitar when you're playing. The most important one being here, the nut and the bridge. Usually you should lubricate those points so that there is not so much friction that can add up after a while, create metal fatigue, and the string will end up breaking. There are thousands of videos online on YouTube to check out on how to properly lubricate those points, so I'm not going to bother with that. Besides, this is not the idea behind Ask the Guitar Coach. It's not like to explain equipment and show things about how to fix equipment. So definitely look for a good luthier online and a good video about these things. So lubrication on the nut here and the bridge. As a quick note, you can also change the nut or the bridge to use self-lubricating parts, but I'm sure you can find this out if you do a quick search for the specific problem. Now the next problem might be with your tuning pegs right here. Now as years go by, if you have the same tuning pegs, they develop edges where the strings wrap around them, and it's quite possible to start breaking strings because of that. Once again, this is something that you can fix by going to a guitar tech and he will file it down a little bit, or by just changing to new tuning pegs, which is a little bit more costly but will definitely get rid of the problem for several years. Another reason your strings might be breaking are the frets. If they're not well dressed and they're not well filed, they might have like little points where the string might catch, and then if it catches once or twice, there's no problem. But if you're playing bench or if you're playing vibrato, at that specific case, the string will tend to always just hit this specific point, and slowly, after a few days, it's gonna come to the point where it's gonna break. So, once again, all those things have to do with having properly set up your guitar. So if you set up your guitar properly and you go to a guitar tech and he sets it up properly, you should have less strings breaking on average than you would if you didn't do that. So here's another reason. Your sweat might be the problem. Many people are sweating while they're playing, and for some of those people, their sweat is slightly acidic and it creates, let's say, a chemical reaction with the strings they're using. Now, this will corrode the strings much more quickly, and sometimes instead of like taking 2 months, it's going to be as little as 3 days or 1 week. So what can you do about that? Well, first of all, the easiest way is to try different brands of strings and see if something changes. If this is done, then if you do that and you can see that they last longer, then you've solved your problem. But very often the problem will not be solved, and then you need to take it even more seriously and find another solution. The next step would be to make sure you wash your hands every few practice sessions. Like if you have if you have 4 30-minute practice sessions during the day, definitely make sure you wash your hands after every 30 minutes so that there is less acidic buildup that's gonna corrode your strings. And also, I've had several students who have this problem use some kind of chalk on their hands, similar to the chalk that we use to write on a whiteboard, on a blackboard, and or the chalk that they use when they do wrestling or weightlifting, and this will stop from your hands from sweating too much. Now, once again, you're not gonna just like put all your hands in chalk and so that they turn all white, but a little bit of that will stop the sweat from forming so quickly, and it's gonna help you with your playing. Unfortunately, if you use chalk, you have to clean up your guitar carefully afterwards, because especially if you have a dark rosewood or an ebony fretboard, it's not going to look too good if you play with chalk afterwards. So there you have it. All these are possible reasons why your strings are breaking. But before you go all crazy about it and start analyzing everything and start like measuring everything and say, oh, maybe it's my sweat, maybe I have to change my guitar, maybe I have to throw away my tremolo, just make sure you're not having crazy expectations. Usually guitar strings can last up to 1 month, maybe 2 months for some people if they're doing a fair amount of playing. If you're breaking way earlier than that, then yes, try to see which one of those situations, possible explanations from the ones I just outlined. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you on the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. Bye bye.